The architectural wonders of soaring cathedrals and majestic castles are some of the greatest achievements of the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. While many of these spectacular buildings no longer survive, vivid records can be found in many manuscript illuminations, such as the construction of the Tower of Babel, a German Middle Age depiction about 1410 of the dapper-dressed King Nimrod supervising the construction of the tower. The labourers stand on wooden scaffolding, hoisting bricks and lime mortar to the upper levels using a pulley system. The automata creativity of the late Keith Newstead with his version of the Tower of Babel inspired me to make an automata construction of a church tower in medieval times. It was quite a challenge. Keith's animated video of medieval building activities came with no hint of mechanisms driving each individual action. It took me weeks of experimenting and many mistakes to arrive at the finished automata that you see here. Later I will explain my design journey to put in place mechanisms to drive each individual action. A crane pulley is attached to a treadmill hoisting up bricks. A foreman is supervising the construction according to plan. Lime mortar is being hoisted by a labourer on a winch. A mason at the back is cutting bricks. A labourer is mixing concrete or lime mortar alongside a barrel of water. The treadmill goes backwards and forwards to lift or lower each load. The foreman's plan must be adhered to. And so the automata goes on and on. I will now show you the process of putting this automaton into action. The first challenge was how to continuously lift a bucket of cement and a load of bricks. The answer came from Jim Coffey from the Automata online forum. Jim showed me via a video he had made, a mock-up, how a cam following rod could convert a rotary motion to a lift and drop motion. Adding another pulley at the top would double the lift. It all sounded so simple, but it took me several hours playing around with a mock-up of the required pulley configuration and cam sizes to get the result I was looking for on this test panel. I attached sliding door runners to the cam rod and fashioned the cams to give the required lift. The rotary motion to drive the cams came from a laser-cut 2:1 ratio acrylic compound gear train attached to the manual driving wheel at the front. A gear template generator at woodgears.ca made this very easy to produce. I attached to the drive shaft a right-angled 12-tooth pin compound gear train to drive an adjacent shaft for more above-ground movements. The cam-driven wire to the left was for the dog's actions. The vertical cotter pin shaft interacted with the skew wheel on the shaft for the king's turning movements above ground. The making of the hexagonal church tower with its scaffold took some time. I added pictures of stained glass windows for effect. Next came the bodies of all the building personnel. Then the finished building crew in their colourful attire, almost ready to go. Then to work on the treadmill with its driving pulleys to take the rope up to the crane for lifting building materials. The treadmill labourer needed leather tongues to his boots to engage with the driving treads inside the wheel. I had planned for a 12-pin gear seen here at the end of the shaft to mesh with a right angle 24-tooth pin wheel to slow down the operation of the mortar mixing pad above, but discovered that the pin gears jammed. I had to use two 24-tooth pin gears to provide an equal ratio to get over the problem. So, back to basics and making of equal right angle pin gears for the mortar pad above. This front view shows the larger 24-pin wheel configuration to allow room underneath for the cam seesaw for raising the head of the labourer, receiving the bricks on the scaffold. Here is a below ground view showing the mechanisms at work. The cam seesaws operate the wire rods for arm and head movements. The cam following rods are driving the pulley mechanisms. The journey in creating this automaton is where the fun lay. The challenge of tackling how to mechanically achieve various movements, all from the turning of a single operating wheel, has been very satisfying. It now sits on my bookshelf among other creations.